Alrighty, Shalom. Before I start off, like the first and foremost, giving all praises, honor, and glory to our Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, Yahweh, Bashem, Yahweh Shai, Bashem Rakakudash, double honors to our apostles and elders, great millstone, taught us His truth, and peace and blessings to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. Alright, and coming back with another lesson, pretty much touching on these times, alright, and verily, these are the times of the end. Okay, there's a lot going on that alludes to this being the last time, man. All right, Esau, the so-called white man, all right, is ruling the earth. Okay, this being the last succession of kingdoms. All right, pursuing Daniel, the second chapter. All right, Daniel the seventh chapter. Okay, and we're in the last stretch of Esau's rule. Okay, now a lot of things still have to play out. All right, but everything that we're seeing now alludes to the fact that this man Esau is on his way out. Okay, and our Lord Yahweh Shai is getting ready to make his return and establish the kingdom of heaven on earth. Okay, so start off with the book of Matthew, the 24th chapter. And I'm going to read through this real quick from the top. And Yahushua went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him to show him the buildings of the temple. And Yahushua said unto them, See ye not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and the end of the world? So the disciples back then, they desired to know, all right, when the end would come. Because certain of them, when Yahushua was on the scene, they perceived that, he was going to establish the kingdom of heaven back then. All right. And they inquired of the times that we're in now. All right. And it says, verse 4, Yahushua answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. Right? And that which was then, all right, is even that which is now. There's no new thing under the sun. As you had false anointed back then, no false prophets back then, you have in these times, man. All right. And it says that for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Hamashiach, anointed, right, and shall deceive many. This is part 2, Salakia, but it says Matthew 24:5, For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. Right, and you have many false anointed that are going out, false prophets, all right? And they're going to rise up saying they've been sent by the Lord and that they are him, all right? But they're not going to be able to deceive the Lord's elect, okay? You got individuals out there literally claiming that they are the Messiah, man, all right? And that are coming in the name of the Messiah, okay? But what they're perverting the gospel of Yahweh Shemel Shai, all right? And going off in doctrine, teaching a false, doctrine. Verse 6, And ye shall hear wars and rumors of wars. See that you be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Like as we see now, okay, wars and rumors of wars, got trade wars, got proxy wars happening as we speak. Which we know that eventually they're going to break forth into a full-scale thermonuclear war, all right? But that isn't going to happen until the MOTB, all right, the Mark of the Beast, the RFID microchip / NFC microchip is mandated across the world. And ye shall hear wars and rumors of wars. See that you be not troubled. And we're not to be troubled, all right? We shouldn't be troubled because we understand that these things have to come to pass before the Lord makes his return and delivers his elect from the four corners of the earth, all right? It establishes the kingdom of heaven, okay? Well, all of these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet because things still have to play out, all right? And soon, we're going to be knee deep in time of trouble, all right? Jacob's trouble, all right? But ye shall be saved out of it. Verse 7, for nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in divers places. All these allude to the signs of the end, all right? Famines, pestilences, and earthquakes in divers places, as we, are seeing now. There's earthquakes in many places, all right? Pestilences, they're talking, even now, they're pushing, they're throwing out, this H1N1 BF, the bird flu, all right, measles, and a whole bunch of things are popping up. Verse 8, and it says famines, what you have with these trade wars going on, all right, which, these tariffs that are being placed on foreign imports and so on and so forth, that's going to lead to these famines, man, all right, food shortages, food prices skyrocketing, that's part of the famines as well. Verse 8, all these are the beginning of sorrow. So this is just the beginning, right? In the NLT it says, but all this is only the first of the birth pains with more to come. Real quick. First Thessalonians 5:3, for when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. Right? And we know that a lot of people are in that mind. They hoping that these things don't take effect. All right. Everything mentioned, they're not expecting the famines, pestilences, evil. All right, evils to break forth. But when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them. All right, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. And the Lord said he should bring evils upon these people that they should not escape. All right, and Esau, he's going to offer peace and safety through what he's going to offer up as a solution. All right, to, the conditions that he's gonna pretty much create. Scriptures say how he's gonna be the author of the cause. He causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, to receive a mark in their right hands or their foreheads. He's gonna be the author of the cause, which really the Lord is working through him to bring the hour of temptation, pursuing Revelation 3:10. All right, to try them that dwell upon the earth. All right, we're all going to be tried. Our faith is going to be tested on a whole other level once this thing comes to pass. All right, but Esau, he's going to offer peace and safety through that solution. All right, and not long after that, the destruction is going to come, man. Thermonuclear destruction. All right. And with all this deception, he is going to deceive a lot of people. All right. But the beginning of birth pains are what we're coming into. You know, what you have now with all these federal workers being cut, you know, within the government, certain federal aid programs being cut, even these tariffs on foreign imports that are going to affect food prices, the supply chain, the money that's being sent to fund wars, you know, the money that's being, you know, spent, you know, thrown out there. That's all gonna lead to this place, you know, this current system, monetary system, collapsing, man. All right. You got essential workers that are gonna be affected, and they're not gonna be able to work because they're replacing people's jobs with artificial intelligence, AI. You know, and you know, soon UBI is gonna be implemented, the universal basic income. All right, now you caught a glimpse of that during the whole pandemic. All right, going back to 2020, you know, under the Biden administration, they were coming with those economic stimulus, you know, relief payments. You know, people were getting those stimulus checks, right? And I believe recently they were talking about giving people a $5,000, you know, checks. All right, under this current administration, right, the Department of Government Efficiency was supposedly going to hand out $5,000 checks to American taxpayers. Okay, which, even if that were the case, that would further devalue the USD. All right, this US dollar, which it's just paper money, man. It's not backed by real, you know, silver and gold. All right, which is real money, you know, which is real, you know, money. Right, going way back, you know, Nixon, he removed the gold standard, all right, in which the FRN was backed by gold, all right, which up until recently, the only thing that gave the USD its value was the petrodollar deals. Okay, now that these nations are dollarizing, you know, the effect of that is gonna be seen eventually. That this money isn't gonna hold any value real soon. Hence, they're gonna come with that digital currency. All right, and from that, you know, UBI. But this is 2nd Ezra 16:37. Behold, the plagues draw nigh and are not slack, as when a woman with child in the 9th month bringeth forth their son, with 2 or 3 hours of her birth pains, 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains compass her womb, which pains, when the child cometh forth, they slack not a moment. The 9th month is when the woman brings forth the child. All right. Now you have contractions that happen, and it's likened unto all these events happening in the earth: pestilence, famine. Right, the devil coming down with great wrath, the hour of temptation. All right. Now there's a term called the ring of fire during childbirth, in which those birth pains are constant up until the child is brought forth. All right. Which all these things are going to happen before our Lord Yahushua makes his return. Verse 39, even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and sorrow shall come upon it on every side, And we know that the ultimate plague is dealing with the thermonuclear missiles, the weapons of the Lord's indignation, all right? His righteous anger, okay? Which they're going to come down upon this place, America, aka Babylon the Great, all right? This place is going to be leveled and wasted completely, man, all right? And they're also going to hit other parts of the earth, but mainly here in America, aka Babylon the Great, all right? But many other events will happen before that time. Again, all these are the beginning of sorrows. Things still have to play out, and they will. The more and more we draw closer to the end, things are going to amplify. 2 Ezra 16:40, O my people, hear my word, make you ready to thy battle, and in those evils be even as pilgrims upon the earth. The Lord's people are the Israelites, all right, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, on to you Israelite foreigners scattered abroad that happen to look like the other nations, man. But your seed, so like your how should I say, your forefathers go back into the nation of Israel, man. All right. Through your patrilineage, through your fathers. It says, and those evils be even as pilgrims upon the earth. See, the evils are the bad times coming, and the elect are not going to succumb to this devil in the chip, all right, which is basically a brand, which shows servitude to the beast system, okay? That's what they're pushing. Now, some of us are going to be caught up and martyred, but ultimately, the elect had the victory. I'm going to go back to Matthew 24:9. Continuing, it says, then they shall deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and you shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And this is in the NLT. Then you will be arrested, persecuted, and killed. Now that's going to happen. All right. Certain of us are going to be rounded up. All right. And arrested, you know, as they're pushing for, crackdowns on dissidents and dissent. All right. Whoever stands up against or is speaking up against their agendas, all right, and what they want to push, then you will be arrested, persecuted, and killed. All right. But we know that, and we know what the scriptures say about them that sleep in Yahushua, man. All right. They're going to be risen back up, you know. Because you see, Esau, he's only going to try to upset the prophecies that concern him and his downfall and him going into captivity. Right. So he figures that by putting the Lord's prophets to death, it's going to stop. It's going to stop his judgment from coming to pass. Which it don't work like that, man. All right. You could do nothing against the truth before it. Right. And the Lord is not a man that he shall lie, man. Right. The scriptures detail Esau going into captivity, beginning with these top banking families, man. All right. And after a long 1,000 years of hardcore slavery, they're gonna be incinerated, man. They're gonna be done away with completely. But it says, you will be hated all over the world because you are my followers. And many will turn away from me and betray and hate each other because they're going to be offended, you know. And many false prophets will appear and will deceive many people. Now this is in the KJV, Matthew 24:12. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. Which iniquity is sin upon sin. All right. the condition without the law. But there's gonna be lawlessness out here, man. People are gonna be going, people are gonna be going crazy out here. Verse 13, but he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. Going back to 2 Ezra 16:40, O my people, hear my word, make you ready to thy battle, and in those evils be even as pilgrims upon the earth. As pilgrims, meaning you're going to have to leave off from your job, home, and so forth, man, because this beast system is going to be implemented. And you're not going to be able to maintain keeping these things unless you have that implantable microchip, all right? Going into Revelation 13, 16, and 17, you're not going to be able to buy or sell without it, all right? Everything is going digital, the Internet of Things, and you have the Internet of Bodies, which are going to merge man and machine, all right, via this implantable microchip, all right, the RFID microchip, radio frequency identification, and NFC, near field communication microchip, all right, as well as the BCI, the brain computer interface, all right, and they're going to relegate people into these 15-minute smart cities. That's what Esau is pushing, man. This whole AI and digital infrastructure coupled with the mark of the beast, the chip. Second Ezra 16:41, he that selleth, let him be as he that fleeth away, and he that buyeth as one that will lose, because you aren't going to have anything. All right, again, going back to Revelation 13, you aren't going to be able to buy or sell without that device. All right. Now this pairs with what Klaus Schwab said some time ago, how you will owe nothing to be happy, because the few liberties that people think they have, all right, going into the Bill of Rights, the U.S. Constitution, they're getting ready to infringe on totally, and they're going to come through and seize everything from these people. Verse 42, he that occupieth merchandise, and he that hath no profit by it, and he that buildeth, as he that shall not dwell therein. Because all things are going to come to a complete halt. All right. Verse 43, he that soweth, as if he should not reap, so also he that planteth the vineyard, as he that shall not gather the grapes, talking about farmers and people that grow foods, right? And Esau, he's going to have an orchestrated famine, all right? And you got a lot of preppers and doomsday preppers that aren't going to profit off those things that they've stockpiled and kept for themselves, all right? Because really those things are going to be for the men of the Lord, right? I got an article real quick, because I ran into this earlier. It says Costco selling World War III doomsday survival kit as the EU tells residents to start stockpiling. The European Union has urged its citizens to build survival kits in case of a war or natural disasters, and Costco has the perfect product for the moment. As the EU advises residents to stockpile enough supplies for at least 72 hours, eagle-eyed shoppers have noticed the perfect doomsday item is in stores ready for Americans. It says, this is in quote, "The CV pandemic has shown that the added value of acting together in solidarity in coordination with the European Union framework is absolutely crucial." Hadja Labib, the Commissioner for Humanitarian Aid and Crisis Management, told Euronews. So they're selling this survival kit after the EU tells residents to start stockpiling, which really there's no real preparation for what's coming. All right, if you're not the elect, these things aren't going to profit you anyway, because the Lord is going to get you up out of here, and you're going to die by way of all these things that are coming. See, it's going to take faith to leave everything behind. Right, and the majority of people, they don't have hope. The scandemic, it showed that. Right, you had people bugging out and going out and buying up all the water, right, and tissue and, certain things, junk food and shit. Right, you had people even dying over tissue and rubbing alcohol. All right, but this next lockdown is going to be permanent, man. Nothing is going to return to normal. And you have to develop that mindset to not be attached to this world, right? Because again, they're coming with these things. They're coming with all these things. Who knows? It could be a couple months before they actually impose these lockdowns over something like measles, all right, which has been gaining more and more, coverage in the news. The same way they were pushing, the same way you saw this whole CV being pushed, all right, in its initial, stage, the more and more you were hearing of people getting infected, right, the more and more you were hearing of, people dying from the CV and so on and so forth. It's the same way you're seeing measles, being brought out in the news. Verse 44, "They that marry is they that shall not get no children, and they that marry not as the widowers." Like the time we're coming into, we're not going to have time for all that. Not with these Western mindset women, all right? You see, these women have all these, perks, federal, they're the biggest federal aid recipients. SNAP, EBT, all that. And they get all type of perks like child support. But a lot of them aren't going to make it. And a lot of this shit is going to be cut. These women are going to suffer exponentially, man. All right? Except the elect women, a lot of these women aren't going to make it. And that draft is going to come. People are going to be drafted into this Third World War growing up. And it just came out that Denmark was forcing conscription. This is from GameReactor.eu. Denmark to introduce mandatory military service for women by 2026. The Nordic country accelerates defense reforms amid rising security concerns. Denmark is not the only me see. Mandatory conscription. Yeah, but that's going on in Denmark. All right. But just wait and see, you know, because it's going to hit here as well. Eventually, you're going to have men drafted off into this war. All right. And don't be surprised if a lot of women are drafted off as well. Verse 45, and therefore they that labor in vain. All this working crazy hours, you know, working minimum wage jobs. You know, you can barely keep up with all these payments, you know, bills and shit. Going to school, trying to earn a college education, a degree, a master's, a doctorate, a PhD, whatever. That's all going to be for nothing. That's all going to be in vain. Verse 46, for strangers shall reap their fruits and spoil the goods, overthrow their houses, and take their children captives, for in captivity and famine they shall get children. Right? Now you have all these migrants coming in, which a lot of them we believe to be these sleeper cells, okay? You know, these foreign nationals, these foreign troops, they're going to take over these apartment complexes, right? Strangers, man. They're going to be spoiling goods, everything these people worked for. Stuff seen in them cartel videos, they're going to do all these things to these people. You know? They're going to be raping these young women, and because they're going to see the skimpy ass outfits these women be walking around in proudly. All right. And they're going to be raping them. They're going to be raping these women, man, and killing them. All right, and so forth. And these other nations, their sleeper cells are going to cover everywhere. You know? And the West Coast is a hot spot for human trafficking. All right? And there's a heavy demonic influence here in the West Coast. Right? You're going to have a lot of women getting abducted. So it's gonna be hell on the American women here real soon, man. You know? That's why, you know, it's best advised for the fews and sisters that do believe, all right, in this thing, to learn discretion, man, and keep it, you know, to the best of your ability. Verse 47, and they that occupy the merchandise with robbery, the more they deck their cities, their houses, their possessions, and their own persons. Robbery, right? People are going to be getting robbed. Small businesses are going to be taken down. These major corporations are going to be taken over. Amazon, right? They do it all right now. Streaming services, shopping, food. You know? The mom and pop shops, they going to fail. You ain't going to be seeing Issachar out there with them hand baskets of food and stuff, man. You know? Verse 48, the more will I be angry with them for their sin, said the Lord. The Israelites, they're the only ones that have been given the law. All right, and the Lord is angry with the state of his people right now. All right? Which is why they're going to fall into all these punishments that are coming upon the world. The Lord is visiting this place, man. All right, let's grab real quick. Isaiah 13:11, and I will punish the world for their evil and the wicked for their iniquity. Right, and the scriptures say how the Lord is angry with the wicked every day. And I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease, and will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. Right? which the world there in the Hebrew is the ball, just habitable port, the earth. The whole earth is going to feel this. Okay, the MOTB implementation is going to be made mandate worldwide. Now the wicked goes in Esau, Edom. All right, as well as you have the wicked of our people. 2/3 of the nation of Israel, and they're going to be cut off and die, pursuing the book of Zechariah 13:8. Slack. And this is not our rest, man. Right? Arise and depart. But this is not your rest. This is not our rest. That's why the scripture that came out in 2 Ezra 16:40, be even as pilgrims upon the earth. You can't be too attached, can't be too invested in this place, man, because everything is going to change. Everything is going to change drastically for this place. Verse 49, like as a whore envieth the right, honest and virtuous woman. Right, and we hate iniquity because this place is wicked, man. That's all that's pushed here. It's LGBTQRZ, just everything is out of order. All right. And the whole foundation of the earth is out of course. Verse 50, so shall righteousness hate iniquity when she decketh herself, and shall accuse her to her face. When he cometh, that shall defend him that diligently searcheth out every sin upon the earth. And therefore be ye not like thereunto, nor the works thereof. Right? You're not supposed to let the ways of this world seduce you to destroy you. All right, that's why the Lord is going to separate us from friends and family, because this world will totally suck you back in and get you destroyed, right? And the Lord said he's causing that division. Scriptures talk about how a man's foe shall be they of his own household. So don't be offended if you see your people start to switch up on you, right? When Esau was putting that propaganda out, making us to be domestic terrorists, man. All right, putting our faces on the news, right? Our faces on putting that AI shit out, Verse 52, for yet a little, and iniquity shall be taken away out of the earth, and righteousness shall reign among you. Right, iniquity shall be taken out of the earth, man, and righteousness shall reign amongst us. Okay, and this is what we hoping for, right? 2 Ezra 9:1, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past, which I told thee before, right, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time when the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. We understand that the Lord is coming back, right? This is that time that he's coming back, right? We ain't got another 1,000 years, man. We hope we ain't even got 5, okay? Even less than that, all right? But surely enough, this is that time. Isaiah 42:9, behold, the former things are come to pass, and new things do I declare before they spring forth. I tell you of them. These things have already been told us by the prophets of old, all right, which you have them coming back, okay? And things now are happening speedily. These famines, earthquakes, uproars of the people, right? 2 Ezra 9:3. 2 Ezra 9:3. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of people in the world, which we see now, people are in uproar over various things, all right? The current administration under Trump, all right, they're making things hard on the American people. And you're going to see sedition brew up even more, all right? You're going to see more uproars, more people in uproar over, this current administration and the conditions that they're setting with all these, executive orders and legislation being passed. Then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. Even so the times also of the highest have plain beginnings, and wonder, and works, and endings, and effects, and signs. You see? And everyone that shall be saved shall be able to escape by his works and by faith, whereby ye have believed. Right? Shall be saved from the said perils, and shall see salvation in my land and within my borders, for I have sanctified them for me from the beginning. Right? The elect was sanctified, all right, from the beginning, all right, before the foundation of the earth. So I'm gonna grab a few more and close out. This is Second Ezra 15:1. Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord. And what we're out here saying and declaring openly is that the Lord is going to bring terror throughout the whole earth, right? And we're not coming through out of our own heart, but by the Spirit of Yahweh Bashem El Shai, okay? We're not coming with antics as certain men do. Certain men are gone out, all right, again, false prophets are gone out to deceive, man, all right? Verse 2, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. These things that are written in the Holy Scriptures, man, are faithful and true. Everything will come to pass as was written aforetime, right? We're in the revival of the ancient Roman Empire via America, all right, NATO and the EU, all right? And this is the last stretch of Esau's rule, okay? Verse 3, fear not the imaginations against thee, let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee. Incredulity goes into people's disbelief. There's all type of imaginations against us, man. Everything is set up to throw off, your belief and put you in doubt and overturn your faith, And these other groups are trying to come up against, against us. You got family members and eventually, the media until they apprehend us, right, and cast some of us into prison, all right? But hold on to your faith, man, and hold on to your hope in Yahweh Bashem El Shai, all right? Ephesians 6:10. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might, right? Keeping that positive mindset to endure, and this being a heavy task in a situation that we're put in, we're going to be surrounded by death on all levels, right? But through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem El Shai, we will overcome, man, Lord willing. Verse 11, put on the whole armor of Yahweh Bashem El Shai, that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. The whole armor is the 100% truth, right? In Yahweh Bashem El Shai, we have the strength to overcome the weight of our condition in this place, It's going to all be overturned real soon, man. Certain things that we face in our walk, the certain ailments and things that we suffer in our bodies and in this mortal flesh, you know. But if we continue to endure, man, there is a greater reward, all right, unto the end, okay? And these scriptures are to comfort us and give us hope. You have all sorts of worries here in this world, but that's where the scriptures come in, all right? The scriptures are our navigation tool, and without it, you have nothing. The wiles of the devil, that's going into all the deception and the trickery and the traps that this devil has out here, man. America is all full of lies and robbery, and the prey, the Israelites departed not because we're stuck here, But in a little while, man, we're going to see this place be overthrown violently. Thus with violence. So that great city, Babylon the Great, be thrown down, Verse 12, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. All right, and we wrestle in our mind with these things. It's a constant battle in our mind. It's a spiritual war. The rulers of darkness of this world, going into the elites, the Illuminati, man, the witches and warlocks. We're wrestling evil demonic forces out here, all right, in this dark world, all right, worldwide. These demonic forces, have realms that they hover over and control, right? The world is in gross darkness, man. All right, and the wicked beareth rule over the whole earth. This is why things are the way they are, You got Jake up in these certain ghettos and neighborhoods, and you just see that wicked ass vibration, man. You feel it. All type of shit is going on behind the scenes in this place. Human trafficking, adrenochrome harvesting. It's all spiritual wickedness in high places, man. The scriptures speak on the souls of men, right? Because people literally sell out to this place. Ephesians 6:13, wherefore take unto you the whole armor of Yahweh Bashim Shai, that you may be able to withstand in the evil day, having done all to stand. Right, the hour of temptation, things coming down the line. All right, and we're gonna have to withstand all these things. All right, Lord willing, man. Having done all right, going into the work, and the confidence comes in knowing that you've done your all right. Everyone has a different portion that they've been given in this thing. Brothers have a different portion than others, but the point is doing the best with what's been given you. This is verse 15, and with their feet shod with the perspiration of the gospel of peace, above all taking the shield of faith. I didn't read verse 14. It's like, stand therefore, having your loins girded about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness, and your feet shod with the perspiration of the gospel of peace, above all taking the shield of faith, wherewith you shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked. The fiery darts, again, dealing with the wiles, man, the methods, which goes into the daily battles that we have in this thing, things of this world, the MOTB system that they're coming with. But the Lord is going to make us prepared to the battle. The shield is dealing with your faith. Verse 17, and take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of the Most High. How we combat everything is through the scriptures. All right? Praying, verse 18, praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit, and watching thereunto with all perseverance and supplication for all saints. And the scriptures urge us to pray always, man. Pray without ceasing. Throwing up curses and prayers for, curses on these devils, man, and our enemies. All right, and our, this place, America, and prayers for the brethren, man. The Lord's Prayer and so on. Perseverance. With all perseverance. Persevere. You can't let these minor issues and problems that you face get you down and throw your faith off. All right? So with that, man, I'm going to close out here. Giving all praise, honor, and glory once again to Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Rakakwadash, the bonus of apostles and elders, great millstone who taught us the truth, and peace and blessings to the elect. To the next, I say shalom.